What's up? Hey, it's episode 65 of the HooperCast. This episode is our most disappointing of 2014. This is closer to the length that we're shooting for future episodes. So stay tuned for the most looking forward to of 2015, and enjoy the show. Okay, you guys, so we have, really Dustin has just a small list of worst or least favorite of 2014, right, Dustin?
Oh, I'm sure I can chime in with a couple.
I'm going to throw in a couple, too, while I'm at it.
Yeah, all right.
But, Dustin, what are your, what's your worst ofs?
Okay, so I'm actually calling this most disappointing of 2014, but it is, but actually I'm gonna say this. They're pretty bad.
Oh, dear.
The first one is Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit. I don't even know why I rented this movie from Redbox.
Even what's his name came out and said he doesn't like that. Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
he's not going to get hired in the future.
I mean, here's the deal, though. Like, I paid $1, and I was like, dude, I got ripped off. Stupid Redbox.
Wow.
This movie.
It wasn't Redbox's fault.
Well. Oh, okay. That's a fair point.
It was Paramount's fault or whoever.
Stupid Paramount. I want my $1 back.
They're just a delivery boy.
Here's the deal, right? It starts out with some promise, and you're like, okay, I can get behind this. And then, like, Keira Knightley shows up, and she's playing an American, and I'm like, I don't know if I can get behind this anymore. And then you have, like, a really, crazy Kenneth Branagh happening. And I love Kenneth Branagh. He's probably, like, the saving grace of this whole thing, probably, because he's the only one that seems like he really even cares about what's happening right now, and that's because he directed it too, I believe. But so here's
did he really?
I think so. But here's the biggest gripe with the thing, is that it's the exact same plot as Casino Royale. Like, they're trying so hard to James Bond this guy and be like, look, no, this is Jack Ryan, this is our American James Bond, right? But I'm like, no, because he's stupid and I don't care about him. And the plot is this. See if this sounds familiar. Kenneth Branagh plays a dude who's like, if I create a terrorist attack, then I'll make a lot of money, because of, stock market and whatnot, just like Lashif did in Casino Royale. The only difference is this movie ends before the poker tournament starts. You remember in Casino Royale, they build up, and Le Chiffre has that guy going through the airport, and Bond is on his trail, and they're going to attach the bomb to the plane.
Yeah,
and then that's going to cause the thing. Well, that's what this movie is, and it never gets to the more interesting part. Plus, it doesn't have an interesting character, and I know Jack Ryan's probably an interesting character, and I liked him when Harrison Ford played him. That's the only actor I've ever seen play him, but. This movie, I mean, I guess it's technically not like a bad movie, like you would think of a bad movie being a bad movie, but this is just a completely uninteresting movie that I guess somebody at some level enjoyed making, but nobody that really mattered, because Chris Pine wasn't trying too hard. Kevin Costner was trying even less. I don't think he doesn't even try anymore. He's just like, I'm Kevin Costner, pay me money. And that's about it. I mean, I'm not going to talk too long about it because I know you guys haven't seen it, but this is just a terrible movie. Like, there's just no. I would never rewatch this movie. I don't even want to watch it the first time. Like, I wish I could do like that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind stuff and like get rid of it, because
good Lord,
it's just stupid. It doesn't even make any sense. Anyway, the end.
All right, continue. What else was on the list?
Okay.
I'll go. I'm
okay,
sure maybe this is on someone else's list. I don't know. I will say this movie was disappointing to me. I wouldn't call it bad. the other movie I'm going to talk about I thought was bad, but this one wasn't bad. Was Godzilla.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got
which
you.
I thought was super, just hollow and just boring. I mean,
yes,
it's like just plotting through, and I've never seen a Godzilla movie before. I've seen some of the Matthew Broderick one, but I was going into this with a fresh slate. Like, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, is this going to live up to the other one?" So I had nothing to base it off of,
sure.
which should have helped the movie really. But I mean, but I mean, it was just it was just so the CG was bad. I thought, and
I thought the CG was pretty good for the most, by and large. I felt like it was pretty good.
The one scene I liked was where they jump out of the plane and they're falling through the sky. That was really well done. And they ripped off the music from 2001 for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was used to great effect, but
yes,
regardless. That was the only scene in the movie that I thought was good. I thought Ken Watanabe was a prop. It was like they needed a Japanese guy to say Godzilla in Japanese. He was horrible. I thought his character in Transformers was actually somehow less offensive. And that's a car that turns into a robot. It's a samurai robot. But,
yes. A Michael Bay movie is less offensive.
Yeah. Never thought I'd be saying that, but I thought that was genuinely the case. And, it's just, there was no substance there. I didn't even care about Godzilla as he wasn't a character at all. It's like, I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson was horrible.
Yes.
And I don't know. That was it. And again, it was kind of, it was like, this is one of those big action movies that everyone seems to hate, but it's like so many people are going around saying this is a great movie. And it was like, why is this different than any of the other, why is this different than Transformers or any of those other type of movies that people hate?
Right.
It's like, this is the same thing.
The
and
reason
Bryan Cranston was good, but he was in it for 15 minutes.
5 seconds. I think the difference is that this has the air of like artistry. Does that make sense? Like we're taking it seriously. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
I guess.
So people are like, nah, this is a serious movie.
It's a shitty movie in a good movie's clothing.
That's a good way to put it.
That's the way I see it. Then.
Look, no, my problem with it is that, like, okay, with modern day visual effects, we have such a good opportunity to do Godzilla and be like really awesome about it. Be like, oh, here's Godzilla, he's pretty legit, right? But like in this movie, Godzilla, what was the final time? Was it like 11 minutes of this movie had Godzilla in it? Was that the final time?
It was like
Something
11
like that,
or 7. It was
it was either like 8.
I think it was 9.
Like maybe.
Something like 9 minutes. He was in it.
It was right around the 10-minute mark of this 2-hour plus film that had the title character in it. Yeah. And obviously Godzilla doesn't talk, and he's a monster, so he doesn't really have much of a personality ever. But like what you populate around Godzilla is always been the movie. And this one was just boring. Like everything Aaron Taylor Johnson did, that guy is one of the worst actors out there. Like, just, you want to talk about wooden? Like, that guy is more wooden than the desk I'm sitting at right now. He is the epitome of stale nothingness. And they put him in this film to react to giant things that don't exist. It takes Bryan Cranston level acting to react to things that don't exist and make them believable. And they cast that guy. And it's just ridiculous. And, I'll get over the fact that I feel shafted by the fact that Cranston got killed 15 minutes in. And I'll get over the fact that Ken Watanabe, the only other, decent actor in the film, like, has nothing to do. But it's just boring. It's just so boring. Okay, now watch as Aaron Taylor Johnson doesn't defuse a bomb but tries really hard, and he's supposed to be an expert. Now watch as he gets on a train. Now watch as he walks on some train tracks with some monsters below him. Now watch as he washes up on shore.
Well,
that's all it is.
I also like the part where there was like I only saw it once, thank God. But there was like a convoy, and he literally just goes like, I'm in the army too. Mind if I join you? And they're like, yeah, sure. Come on. Yeah. Like, I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, because that's how the army works.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like even if there's a giant thing attacking the city, and you're like, hey, can I join your platoon? They're going to be like, I mean, we would love to have some help, but like, you might endanger the mission because you don't know anything about what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And we don't have time to brief you. It's just ridiculous. I don't know. And then don't get me started on his wife and kid that literally are not there for any reason other than
I was just about to say,
attention.
the most necessary characters in 2014. I mean,
yeah, for real.
so remarkable.
They're designed to make you be like, oh, he's a family man. He's such a good guy. And I'm like, no, he's an idiot. If he was a family man, he would be with his family. That's the definition of a family man.
He looks like he's 17.
I know, right? He's 17.
It's ridiculous.
I know. It is. It's really stupid. And
you got something against young fathers, John?
You're not
John.
17. No, I don't, because you don't look like the
not.
14-year-old in this movie.
But Hooper, you raise a good point. Assume that there's a giant monster attacking your city. Are you going to go attack that monster, or are you going to be with your family and make sure they're safe?
I will absolutely abandon my family and fight the monster.
Oh, well, that conversation went a completely different way.
No, it's completely ludicrous, the choices he makes.
I can't be friends with you anymore.
As a family man in this movie, it's completely ludicrous that he's like, yeah, I'll come get you in the city. I would tell Tara, yo, get out of there.
Yeah, go. Like,
get out right now.
Look, exactly. That's exactly the thing.
And the characters just made it was like the writers needed to keep them in these spots, like the wife and the kid.
Yeah.
And there were so many excuses that they threw out to make them not leave. But they were all ridiculous. I mean, the entire thing, like, she's like, I'm staying. Didn't she was a nurse, right?
Yes,
If
she
I
was a
remember
nurse.
right. She's like, I gotta stay in with the hospital. It was like, bitch.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
you have
I'm
a
sorry
son.
for my language, but I mean, it's like,
No, it's true, dude.
No,
She has a son, and and the son's father is off fighting God knows where. Like, okay, say what you will about Aaron Taylor Johnson leaving his family, but a perfectly good mother is not going to leave her son. Also, that doesn't make any sense. That would be like if you were like, look, Mrs. Hooper, I got to go fight Godzilla, and she's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna leave #baby.
okay,
here.
cool.
Like that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to believe that this is a good family unit.
Yeah.
Bull crap. And then it's just.
I will say that the first 10 minutes or so, before they jump forward X amount of years, was well done. I wouldn't call it good necessarily. I would call it good. I wouldn't call it great.
Sure.
But I will say that part was all right with the nuclear meltdown or whatever that was.
Yeah,
that was okay. But the rest of the movie, aside from that parachuting scene, was horrible.
Yeah. Well, and the thing
is not horrible, but extremely disappointing.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, the thing too, I think it was a mistake that they hid the two other monsters from the trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
Because like I went in thinking, okay, this is going to be like a reboot. Because if you think about the first Godzilla from the 50s, where Godzilla is just a metaphor for the atomic bombs, he is the villain. He's not the hero. It was only later, like when Japan started making him into a hero. And so I thought that was the movie we were going to get, where he was the villain. And then maybe at the end or something, you know, I don't know. I just thought for sure he would be the villain. But then he comes up out of the ocean depths and attacks these, you know, two flying things. But it doesn't make any sense. I guess they said he was there to restore balance or whatever. But like, why was he swimming so slow? Dude was like plodding along as these two dudes are tearing apart the city. I don't know. It was just it just didn't make any sense. I don't know. And there are a lot of people out there that say, no, you just don't understand the movie. It had a lot to say. You just don't understand it.
No.
I'm like, no, maybe you're just reading too much into it. Maybe the movie's just a poorly made film. And, well, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's not a poorly made film. It looks good and whatever. But
well, it's amazing how much people seem to be guided by how good they want a film to be and how good it actually comes out.
Sure.
We all
and
wanted
I would
Godzilla
love for
to be
Godzilla
great.
to be awesome. Yeah.
You know, but
it wasn't.
it's just it wasn't.
No. There's a couple of cool parts, like when he shoots fire down the guy's throat. I'm like, that's pretty legit, and the throat comes off and everything.
Yeah.
All right. You got me on that one, Godzilla.
Right.
But yeah, exactly. But see,
He does it to one of the monsters?
Yeah, he does.
I didn't even remember that.
But see, here's the thing too. Have you ever thought about this? I don't know if this is a fair comparison. Maybe it's not a fair comparison. But I thought about it when I saw it. How come at the end of Godzilla, the news is like, Godzilla's a hero, and everyone's like, yay. But then at the end of Man of Steel, everyone's like, stupid Man of Steel caused so much destruction. He's not a hero. I'm like, bull crap. It's the same thing.
Because one was a good movie and one wasn't.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Anyway, whatever. I don't know. It's stupid. And don't even get me started, too, on the fact they found the family found each other so easily after a devastating attack on the city.
Yeah.
They walk into a big shelter, and they're like, he walks in there like 5 seconds, and there's the kid, and then 5 seconds later, and there's the other, his supposed wife.
I wish movies would...
Doesn't really seem to love her very much.
Yeah, I wish movies would punish characters who make those choices more often.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he shows up, and it's like, sir, I know you've been here for 6 hours looking for your wife and kid, but they're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you should have been
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, it would have been great. It would have been
It would have been realistic. Like, hey, you left them to die in the city while you went and tried to be a hero.
Yeah. Tried. Of course, failed because your family's dead, but, you know.
Failed because Godzilla's the one that saved the day, and you didn't do anything. You finally made it onto the boat with the bomb, and you were like, oh, I can't disarm it even though I'm a bomb expert. I guess I'll start driving out into the water because that'll save everybody. No, you can't get far enough away. There's like 12 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
As a bomb expert,
that whole thing
you
with
should
the
know.
boat, it was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's like, enough
It's
already.
stupid.
Yeah.
Enough,
It's
yeah.
Stop.
But anyway, I don't want to stop talking about it. It's upsetting.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm done.
What's another disappointing film this year?
I don't know if you guys saw it, but The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I
didn't because I didn't feel like I could judge it fairly, so so I didn't see it.
Well, I did.
What did you think, John?
The first one was pretty bad, I thought, but I don't think I hated it. In hindsight, I did. Thinking back on it, I would never watch the first one again. But
Yeah.
But this second one, like, it wasn't good. I didn't think it was good. I thought it was bad.
No.
But
Yes.
I thought that they improved a lot upon the one that was before it in several ways. So I don't say I hate it. I wouldn't even call it disappointing because I didn't really have high expectations for it. But I'm just indifferent towards it, I suppose.
I got you.
But I, it was, to me, it was much better than the one that came before it, but it's not like the others by any means. So
for me, like, the whole thing, like, it did improve in a couple of areas. Like, Spider-Man's wit seemed a little more on point.
the
that
costume.
kind of stuff. Yeah, the costume was way better. But where it counted, like, the story didn't even... It's just so stupid. Like, okay, so
it was all over the place.
You got this nerdy dude, and then he's like saved by Spider-Man, so now he's obsessed with Spider-Man. And then he falls into a vat of eels, which is in and of itself stupid. And then all of a sudden he hates Spider-Man. I don't understand why all of this is happening. And I'm sure they gave a reason. I don't remember why he switched to hating Spider-Man. I don't even remember it at all. But it's just so shallow and, like, stupid. And
I don't remember why I didn't like him either.
Yeah, the villain didn't mean anything. Yeah. And then you got all the Harry Osborn stuff, which was unnecessary and stupid. And the whole thing seemed like a setup for Sinister Six rather than a proper Spider-Man film. And one of the most confusing things about it is I have no idea how much time passes in this movie. I literally have no clue. It seems like months, but then at some point I thought it was like a year. But I don't even know. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And then at the end of the movie, if you remember this, at the end of the movie, he's at a grave. I won't say whose grave, but he's at a grave, and it shows.
I think we all know.
Yeah, it shows the seasons passing, but then like legitimately, the next scene Like you see him in front of the grave, and there's like snow, or there's leaves, and then snow, and then spring and whatnot. But then like the next scene, he's sitting with Aunt May, and Aunt May is like, Peter, it's been 4 weeks or something like that, and I'm like, y'all, I just saw 3 seasons.
4 weeks and some crazy weather.
I literally like looked at this. I looked at my brother during that part, and I was like, did she just say 4 weeks? I just saw it snow. I saw the trees lose their leaves and it snow. And that to me is indicative of the thought that went into this film. Literally no thought. It just didn't make any sense to me at all. And I don't know. Okay, I'm going to spoil it. I'm sorry. So when Gwen Stacy dies...
What?
You would expect... You would expect, no matter what incarnation of it is, if you're a Spider-Man fan, I should get choked up by that scene. But I felt nothing. Like,
Did you?
She dies, and I'm like, that sucks. Sucks for you, Pete. But also indicative of this is when that happened, I thought of the line from, I think, Spider-Man 2 or whatever, where Peter was like, am I not supposed to have the things that I want or whatever? And I'm like, during this movie, I'm thinking about the Sam Raimi movies. That's a failure. And anyway, it just didn't make any sense. I don't know. That movie was garbage.
What you were thinking is, am I not allowed to have the things that I want?
Yes. Yeah. Am I not supposed to have the Spider-Man that I want? So frustrating. They shoehorn the Goblin in at the end, and everything's just so bull. It just doesn't make any sense. Why can't somebody write a movie that's decent? Oh, let me tell you this too. One more thing. This is the stupidest thing that they've done in the franchise, and maybe you've heard about this, Hooper. If not, I'm spoiling it, so sorry. Peter finds his dad's abandoned subway station, which is just as ludicrous as it sounds, and he has a subway car underneath the tracks that raises up. So the subway car comes up, he goes in, and there's a lab, right? Everything's still powered up, everything's still working from like the 80s. And he finds his dad's notes. And I don't remember exactly how all this plays out, but essentially what we come to realize is that the spider that bit Peter, it wasn't a radioactive spider, but rather Peter had radioactive blood because of his dad's, inhumane tinkering with his son's genetics. Basically what they did was they changed it so that only Peter could have gotten those powers. And to me, that completely ruins everything about that character, that it could be anybody that got those powers, that it could be anybody under that mask.
Midichlorians.
That it's midichlorians. That's exactly what it is. That the only person that could possibly be Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And I'm like, that's bullcrap. That's stupid. I mean, in one aspect, it's like, that's the only one I really want to see is Peter Parker. But at the same time, it could have been me. If I'd have been touring that lab, it could have been me. Or I guess in this version, he snuck into the lab or whatever. Because he's a prankster. A juvenile delinquent.
A jankster.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Hated Spider-Man 2.
Do you have any others, Dustin? Or do I need to continue?
I have one more, but you can go ahead.
Okay, Hooper already knows my feelings on this particular film. Maleficent. This movie was not only disappointing, although I didn't have expectations for it, but it was fucking horrible. From start to fucking finish.
Yeah.
It was rubbish.
Yep.
And I can't think of any redeeming things about this. in the story. I mean, it's...
To me, that seemed like...
horrible from fucking start to finish.
It seemed like a vanity project for Angelina Jolie.
Right.
Through and through.
Oh, God. Well, misfire on that. Because the whole thing, the story is ridiculous. And I'm like, how do you fuck this up? But they were like, let's change it. She's a good guy now. Meh. It's like, no, this is fucking ridiculous. And like, I was telling Hooper, because Hooper saw it recently, and the whole movie hinges on this thing. Like, she is betrayed as a child, and so she's like, I'm gonna get vengeance by cursing his child, right? The king's child.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, whatever, like the movie, whatever. And then halfway through the movie, she becomes a good person. But then there's nothing that happens in the second half of the movie.
Really?
It's like we've already resolved everything. It was horrible.
That's weird.
It was horrible, and there was no plot. It was like, I'm watching over, I must call her Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. Man, I'm a nice person now. I turn into a dragon. But I don't even remember, Hooper, did she actually turn into a dragon, or it's her minion that turns into a dragon? She doesn't, correct?
It's that guy.
No, it's like, why do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so in the trailers they show like, oh, here's the dragon, but it's not even her. It was, and it's like, it was like they were trying to be different just for the sake of being different.
Yeah, I hate that.
And, but I mean, there was literally no stakes to me. There was no plot. There was no conflict at all to me. It was just so waffly.
Yeah.
Waffle through the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
And I thought the CGI was bloated. I thought the landscapes didn't look good. None of the acting was good. CG was bad, I thought. I thought that the fairies were some of the worst CG characters since Jar Jar Binks.
Ooh. Oh, man.
Wow. They were terrible. And like Imelda Staunton played one of them.
Yeah.
And she looked like a CGI character. It was horrible.
She did.
You could see like the textures on her face. It was really bad.
Gross.
But anyway, that's my 2 cents about that one. That was horrible.
Gotcha.
You got another one, Dustin?
I got one more.
All right.
And this, I think John already knows where I'm going with this, but he disagrees with me. But I freaking hated the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
See, I like that. I like that one.
I know you do. I know you.
But
do. I'm gonna try to go easy on it.
I don't.
But
you're not offending me.
I'm just gonna say, this is not the Ninja Turtles. This is kindergarten bullcrap. There's not a single redeemable quality about this film. It's not directed well. It's not performed well. It's not written well. There's nothing about it that looks good. The Turtles themselves are the ugliest CG characters I've ever seen in my life. Not even in terms of like, okay, it's just bad CG, but just like they're ugly. Like this, I'm not covering any new ground here because I know everybody knows they're ugly, but they are ugly. And like, they look like an overly detailed Shrek with face masks. And basically,
You've offended her.
I have. She loved the Turtles.
Yeah.
She loves that shit. How dare you?
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Fuck you, Uncle Dustin.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
You're no longer Unky Dustin. You're just
no.
Dustin.
No. All right, so here's what I'll say about this, right? So, movie starts. You got a bunch of Foot Clan soldiers that are not ninjas. I don't know why they decided they wouldn't be ninjas anymore, but they're not ninjas. They're like Black Ops mercenaries.
They weren't ninjas in the other one, were they?
They were kids.
They were like
in
punk
the movies.
kids, right?
In the comics and in the TV shows, they're always ninjas.
Oh, okay.
Trained by the Shredder, but yeah, in the movies, in the original like live action movies, they made them kids, like street urchin kids or whatever.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, so basically, they're doing some bad stuff or whatever. I don't know why. And the turtle and Megan Fox is like, "Hey, I'm April O'Neil. I don't really look like April O'Neil, and I don't really even look much like a person anymore because of all the surgery. But hey,
Cooper, are you all right?
Me? Yeah. I'm
What are you doing?
I'm deleting shit. I can't read it, so I'm shutting an eye. Sorry.
It looked like you were having a brain aneurysm. It seems like you're really focused on something, and then like one of your eyes would keep like shutting, and I was like, "Oh God, he's dying!" Like,
oh no,
no, I'm fine. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry, Dustin. Continue.
No, it's fine.
I was concerned about Hooper's safety.
Yes. So Megan Fox finds out about the turtles, and there's a bunch of real creepy dialogue in which when Michelangelo sees April O'Neil, he goes, oh man, my shell is tightening, and a bunch of really, really creepy, like borderline inappropriate,
Risque.
not even borderline, just inappropriate for a kid's movie dialogue, and yeah, then there's some shenanigans about a ancient Japanese something or other, and then anyway, here's the deal. So William Fichtner was originally cast to play the Shredder, but when the internet was like, he's not Japanese, they were like, oh, hold up, we'll rewrite it. So they added in like these obviously like reshot, like, they did reshoots where they obviously just added in a Japanese guy who was like, no, I'm the real Shredder. And he's always in shadow, and he only ever had a scene. You only ever see this actor with William Fichtner because of, reshoots. And so they added in another guy, and he was Shredder, but you never see underneath the Shredder's mask because then you'd realize it wasn't the Shredder. It was William Fichtner. Anyway, the point is, it's just obviously like rewritten like really late in the game after it was shot. It doesn't make any sense, like pretty much anything. I clocked it. There's a sequence on the side of a mountain where they're going down this mountain, I kid you not, for 13 minutes. That's over 10% of this film is in one action sequence that is not even any good. And then the turtles are bulletproof, so like legitimately they're shooting the turtles and it's just popping off their shells. I'm like, are you kidding me? Now that they're bulletproof, like where's the drama then? And then you've got Will Arnett being this really also creepy, very like overtly sexual dude who's creeping on Megan Fox the whole movie. So now Megan Fox is being creeped on not just by the audience, but by what's his face, Will Arnett, and by pretty much all the turtles. And I don't know, at this point, probably also by Splinter, the Rat, and who knows who else. And it's just ridiculous, man. And like,
Cowabunga.
The turtles don't even seem like,
whatever.
The turtles don't even seem like themselves. They're like, the plot is William Fichtner's like, hey, I own a company. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the turtles' blood. Again, we got super blood happening. I'm going to use the turtle's blood to cure a disease that I'm going to infect everybody with. And I'll sell the disease to the U.S. government for billions of dollars. Boom, I'm a billionaire. And the turtles are like, well, hold up. I mean, that's probably not right. So then they try to attack him and Shredder and all this stuff. But I never even know why Shredder's in the movie. There's never even like, what was he getting out of this deal? William Fichtner was making billions of dollars, but they never tell me what Shredder was doing. Why was he working for William Fichtner? That doesn't make any sense.
I think he was like the fall guy.
But
he was like the public face of the villainy.
Yeah, but why was he? What was he getting out of it?
He was like Mandarin.
Was he getting money? Because they never even mentioned.
I don't know.
They never mention what the Shredder's motivation of this is. And keep in mind, there's a really clear motivation in the original comics and in the TV shows and all the movies, in that dude just hates the turtles because they're trained by his arch nemesis, Splinter. I don't know. It's just dumb. They took everything away. Not to mention that Splinter wasn't even a martial artist or ninjutsu dude or anything until after he was, like, in the sewer. He found a ninjutsu book and was like, oh, I guess I'll learn that because I'm a sentient rat now. And then he becomes a master in the sewers, like, as the turtles age, which probably didn't take I guess it took 10 years or so. But, like...
Radical.
It doesn't make any sense. It's just so stupid. There's a scene where you see Michelangelo dancing to Hollaback Girl. Like, they have such classic comedic dialogue as when April O'Neil comes to William Fichtner's house, he goes, looks like April came early this year. And I'm like, what does that line even mean? Why did you write that down? And it's just so dumb. And also the whole turtles being sexually attracted to April O'Neil thing is really creepy to me and to my childhood.
Weren't they though in the other ones?
I never really felt like
they were in the movie.
I never really felt like they were like sexual as much as it was like we have a crush on you. Like, I feel like that's the difference. Like, this one was sexual with like, my shell is tightening. Like that. That's like, hey.
Oh my God.
That's what they're saying to April O'Neil. And in the other one, it's probably like, It's like, hey, she's a babe. You know what I mean? Like, that's different.
Right, I get what you're saying, yeah.
So, anyway, but in the cartoons, which is my preferred version, they're like sisters, like brothers and sisters, you know? It's like, hey, April's a swell pal.
Ew.
And I'm like, that's nice. Did you know that in this one, April O'Neil named the turtles, and April O'Neil, like fed the turtles pizza for the first time when she was a kid?
Dustin, did you remember when you read a part of the script on the HooperCast?
I do. That was the first draft of the script.
Oh, so that scene doesn't exist anymore?
No, it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay. Could you tell in the movie which scene it was?
No, it's like completely overhauled, but
and still terrible,
and still just as terrible. Like, I don't know how, but no, what they did was April O'Neil. So she sees these giant turtles, right? And hears their names and everything. And she's like, that sounds familiar. And she never realizes, hey, that's the same names as the 4 pets I had that my dad was experimenting on. What? That's stupid. And I hate this stupid thing in Hollywood now where everything's connected. Like, why April had to be connected to their backstory at all?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing all that junk, Hollywood. And so anyway, she finally figures it out because she's an idiot. And she's like, oh, those turtles are the same turtles that I had when I was a kid. And then she's like, I named them after a Renaissance painters from a book or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, typically that's Splinter and, you know, whatever. But I don't know. It's just stupid.
We all know Splinter, the great painter.
Yeah, exactly. But why Splinter had to... I mean, why April O'Neil had to be involved in their origin at all, I don't understand. And so, like, okay, the building's on fire. So she goes and finds the turtles to put them in, to you know, get them out of their aquarium or whatever and take them to safety. And so she has 2 options at this point. One, try to save her dad, who is dying in the building, or save her turtles. She saves the turtles. And what she does is she picks up the turtles and takes them to a sewer and drops them down the sewer. And I'm like, that doesn't save them. Now you never get them back. You can't go down in that sewer. You're a little girl.
Now they're gone and your dad's dead.
Yeah, exactly. And then in 10 years, I'm just going to forget about my 4 turtle pets. It's stupid. I'm sorry. If I have 4 turtles and their names are Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael, and Donatello, and then 4 giant turtles show up and their names are Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello, I'm pretty much going to know pretty quickly that those are my turtles. But she doesn't know that. And anyway, whatever. It's stupid. I can't get behind anything that happened in that movie. And there's a lot of really quick, like, character arcs that don't mean anything. Like Raphael's, he's like a jerk, right? He's always a jerk. Then at the end, he's like, I trust you, Leo. I'm like, why? He's done nothing to garner your trust. This doesn't make any sense. I guess you'd have to see it, but it doesn't make any sense. Story arcs are stupid. Shredder has a clear opportunity to kill Raph and literally walks away from him. And none of this even makes any sense. I hate everything. I hate everything.
I thought it was fun.
I'm sorry, John.
You don't offend me.
I'm sorry if I offended you.
I don't like it for the story necessarily. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. I gotcha. I just think
I was eating some popcorn. It was a good time.
I think my problem with it is like as a kid, I loved the Ninja Turtles so much, and now I'm like, okay, now I'm at a position where I've studied story and I know how to write. I feel like at least a little bit, and somebody got paid a lot of money to write this movie. And why that wasn't me, I don't know, because I'd have written a better version of this for $10. Buy me a Whopper from Burger King and an Icy, and I'm good.
Icy.
Give me a Coca-Cola Icy.
A slush puppy.
Give me a slush puppy and a cheeseburger, and I'll provide you a better script than this. Just so my name is on a Ninja Turtle movie. That's all I want. Is that too much to ask? No. You're paying that guy $300,000.
You should have gotten some pizza. Oh.
I know, right?
Get it?
Ugh.
Pizza. I really like that. Oh, shit.
Stupid.
Do you have any Hooper?
Not from 2014. I'm surprised. I didn't have any, like, I was pretty smart this year in terms of what I saw. Like, I didn't see anything that I thought could possibly be bad.
Yeah.
So I know that's kind of anticlimactic, but I was pretty pleased with everything I saw from this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well-
yeah, I guess that's our worst for 2014.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Did you guys have anything to add?
I think that's it for me.
Okay.
Just
well,
that I'm not looking forward to Ninja Turtles 2.
Uh-oh. Well, speaking of looking forward, our next episode we will talk about what we are looking forward to in this year of 2015. So, stay tuned.
Nice segue.
Yeah.